friends. The other day, my friend was shocked to learn that her husband had stage 3 kidney disease. He didn't have any pain, no burning, or blood in his urine. Nothing obvious. And that's why my friend was so shocked. In fact, she thought that they were doing everything right, at least by conventional advice. He never salted his food. His blood sugars were normal. He didn't have diabetes. He had no warning signs. He felt fine until one morning she noticed his socks were leaving deep marks around his puffy ankles. They weren't painful. They were just a little swollen. So he assumed it was absolutely normal. And when he finally went to get it checked out, the labs told a completely different story. And his kidney function was already severely impaired. So quietly, progressively, over actually several years. And that's when that he learned the truth most people never hear until it's too late. Kidney disease, it doesn't usually start with pain. It starts with pressure. And the pressure is silent and high. High blood pressure is one of the most powerful and underestimated destroyers of people's kidney tissue. And it doesn't just strain the heart. In fact, it batters the kidneys every day, day after day, with microscopic damage. Now, with that foundation, let's walk through the top 10 foods that's supportive for your kidney health. And let's start with the most powerful foods that relax your blood vessels so you get good blood pressure. That protects your nephrons. So food number 1 is cooked leafy greens, especially spinach, chard, and beet greens. Now, I picked these 3 because these 3 are commonly found in your local supermarket, and they are rich in potassium, magnesium, nitrates, and antioxidants that directly relax your blood vessels and improve your endothelial function. Now, when your blood vessels relax, pressure inside your kidneys filtration units goes down, and that's actually a good thing. That alone slows down nephron loss. And cooking with greens reduces the oxalate content, so you want to throw away the water, while preserving the minerals, and that makes them a little bit safer to eat for people who are worried that they may get kidney stones. I wouldn't juice these vegetables because that can concentrate the oxalates. The nitrates in greens convert to nitric oxide, a molecule that improves your blood flow and reduces vascular resistance, directly benefiting kidney perfusion. It needs to be made on the spot. You can't store it. So food number 2 are beans and lentils. And this may surprise many of you because protein has been demonized for kidney health. But the problem really isn't protein. It's a type of protein, how much you're eating, and the context. So plant protein is packaged with fiber, potassium, magnesium, and alkaline compounds that actually help you to reduce your acid load. So beans has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, lower your blood pressure, feed your gut bacteria that will actually produce anti-inflammatory molecules like short-chain fatty acids. Literally, they help to reduce your body's inflammation, the inflammation against your kidney tissue. And unlike animal protein, beans don't spike glomerular pressure, and they calm it, and that's why the National Kidney Foundation, they recommend whole foods that are plant-based, and beans are a significant source of that diet. Food number 2 are oats. Oats are uniquely protective because they contain beta-glucan fibers, which help to lower LDL cholesterol, and that by itself improves your vascular elasticity. Now, oats also reduce your post-meal blood pressure spikes. It stabilizes blood sugar post-meal, and it lowers the sympathetic nervous system, so it's not on hyperdrive and constricted, right? You want your blood vessels relaxed. So for your kidneys, this means smoother blood flow, less pressure variability, and less wear on already a pretty fragile filtration system that basically gets damaged over your lifetime. Oats also bind sodium in the gut. It reduces sodium absorption. Now, food number 4 is my favorite category, berries, especially blueberries and strawberries. Now, these fruits are low in potassium, relatively speaking, compared to other fruits, but they're extremely high in polyphenols that reduce oxidative stress inside your kidneys. Oxidative damage accelerates nephron loss. And berries, they actually protect your mitochondria function. And that includes the ones within your kidney cells. It also reduces inflammation in the kidney microvascular system. They improve nitric oxide signaling. They don't raise your blood sugar like eating a piece of candy or a piece of bread. Berries also support your kidney health through several overlapping mechanisms that all reduce oxidative oxidative stress, basically inflammation, and it improves your metabolic parameters. So it reduces that metabolic strain on your kidneys while helping to preserve the delicate nephrons that are inside each of your kidneys. I mean, you have so much blood rushing through your kidneys all day long and all night long. They're highly vascular organs and they have an enormous metabolic workload, constantly filtering blood, concentrating waste, which makes them especially vulnerable to oxidative damage and inflammation. It's like they are your trash collectors. They filter them and then they get rid of them. And berries are uniquely protective because they deliver antioxidants, fiber, and water, and other phytochemicals that are low in calorie, low in protein, and they are packaged in a fiber matrix so that it doesn't overload your renal filtration system. Maybe you've heard polyphenols like anthocyanins, quercetin, ellagic acid, and flavonols. They all reduce oxidative stress in your nephrons, in your glomeruli. And the microscopic filtering units, they help them reduce free radicals that are generated during normal filtration. In excess, when you have high blood sugar and high blood pressure. And both animal and human studies, they show that anthocyanins can reduce markers of renal oxidative damage and slow structural injury, particularly in people with diabetes or metabolic syndrome. They are at higher risk for kidney injury, and that injury often begins silently years before any lab abnormalities show up. Berries also help protect the kidneys indirectly by improving insulin sensitivity, reducing the need for insulin, which is an inflammatory hormone, and it also helps to improve sugar control. Chronic hyperglycemia or high blood sugar damages the kidney's filtration barrier, leading to protein leakage, albuminuria, and progressive nephron loss. So the fiber and the polyphenols in the berries, they blunt the post-meal glucose spikes. It reduces insulin resistance and it helps to lower the advanced glycation end products that happens with high blood sugars, all which reduce long-term glycemic injury or sugar injury to renal tissue. And this is the one reason berry consumption is consistently associated with lower rates of progression of diabetic kidney disease or diabetic nephropathy. Blood pressure regulation, I mentioned, is another key pathway, and many berries improve endothelial function by increasing nitric oxide bioavailability and reducing vascular inflammation, which all improves your renal blood flow and lowers your intraglomerular pressure that then damages your kidneys and reducing your glomerular filtration rate. And when you have lower blood pressure inside the kidney, that translates into less mechanical stress on the glomeruli, less scarring over time. And this effect is especially relevant because hypertension, it is one of the leading causes of chronic kidney disease worldwide. And that is what my friend's husband had. He did not pay attention to his blood pressure. Berries also support the gut-kidney axis. Their fermentable fibers feed beneficial bacteria in your gut. That increases short-chain fatty acids such as butyrate, which then reduces systemic inflammation and circulating uremic toxins. So when the gut microbiome is unhealthy, toxins like indoxyl sulfate and p-cresyl sulfate, they actually accumulate and directly damage your kidney tissue. So by improving your microbial balance, berries help to reduce the burden of kidney toxins while preserving renal function. And of course, hydration and mineral balance matters a lot. Most berries have high water content and relatively low sodium, which supports an adequate urine flow within increasing kidney pressure. And unlike protein or high oxalate foods, most commonly eaten berries are actually pretty gentle on your kidneys when you eat it in whole food portions. Take, for example, cranberries. It actually can help reduce certain bacteria from adhering to the urinary tract, which then can lower a person's risk of urinary tract infections if it's caused by those bacteria. And that lowers the stress from your kidneys because it can easily go up in your ureters to infect your kidneys. So when you have a food that doesn't raise your blood pressure, doesn't spike your blood sugar, and it doesn't overload protein metabolism, you would think that you don't require heavy detoxification, but you actually do because we make byproducts just by breathing. So instead, when you eat berries, it reduces inflammation. It actually improves your vascular health. It stabilizes your metabolism and supports your microbial balance, all which supports your kidneys so you doesn't get disease. Food number 5 are sweet potatoes, which are one of the most potassium-dense whole foods available. And potassium is a mineral most consistently associated with lower blood pressure and slower kidney decline. There is a caveat. If your kidneys are failed, then you can't eat high potassium food. But for the rest of us, potassium counteracts sodium at the level of the blood vessel and the nephron. So it promotes sodium excretion. It relaxes smooth muscles and it reduces the renin-angiotensin system activation. So in whole food form, potassium works gently and safely for most people without kidney failure. Food number 6 are cruciferous vegetables. For example, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. And these vegetables, they reduce inflammation, support detoxification, and provide sulfur-containing compounds that protect your endothelial cells without adding that extra acid load, unlike animal protein. The fiber in cruciferous vegetables, they help to lower uremic toxins that your gut produces. So it reduces the burden of toxins on your kidneys. These vegetables are also the most powerful foods for long-term health because they simply influence cellular detoxification, inflammation, metabolism, and immunity. And it influences your gene expression in ways very few foods can. And again, this family includes cabbage, bok choy, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, arugula, many Asian greens, broccoli, and broccoli sprouts. And what makes them unique is not just that they have vitamins or fiber, but they actually have a bioactive sulfur-containing compound.
Hi friends, I am so thrilled that you want to take charge of your health and take charge of your food. Now, I know nutrition can be complex, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm here to support you in this lifelong journey. So if you point your camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you. And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes and then you can leave me your feedback on what I could do to help you in your journey. Okay, back to the video now.
And the defining compounds in cruciferous vegetables are glucosinolates, which are then converted when the plant is chopped, chewed, or blended into biologically active molecules such as sulforaphane and indole-3 carbinol. Now, these compounds, they activate your body's internal detoxification systems, particularly NRF2 pathway, which upregulates antioxidants and phase 2 detoxification enzymes like glutathiones, superoxide dismutase, and catalase. So rather than detoxing by flushing something out, cruciferous vegetables works from the inside. It makes your cells more efficient on its own to neutralize and export toxins. And it protects your mitochondria from oxidative damage and improves your overall cellular resilience. I'm not sure if you realize that chronically high blood pressure increases your risk of getting cancer. And sulforaphane has been shown to slow abnormal cell proliferation, enhance programmed cell death of damaged cells, and inhibits angiogenesis and reduces DNA damage from environmental toxins. And these effects, they're not just limited to one cancer type. Associations have been observed with breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer, and bladder cancers. And most importantly, these foods, they don't just kill off your cells indiscriminately. They strengthen your abnormal cells while making the damaged and precancerous cells less viable, which is fundamentally different than how we treat issues today, like chemotherapy. Cruciferous vegetables also play a major role in metabolic health and weight regulation. And this is simply because they're extremely low in calorie density while being high in fiber and water, which increases satiety and naturally reduces your overall total calorie intake without actually triggering hunger if you eat enough fruits and vegetables. And when you eat cruciferous vegetables, that fiber, it feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which leads to an increased production of short-chain fatty acids, literally energy to fuel your colon, as well as to improve insulin sensitivity, lower systemic inflammation, and support your gut barrier. And this is why diets rich in cruciferous vegetables are consistently associated with lower rates of diabetes, lower rates of obesity, and lower fatty liver disease. And the cardiovascular benefits also are another major advantage. Literally, if you drink some kale juice, you will improve your endothelial function within hours of drinking that kale juice. It also reduces oxidative stress in the blood vessels, and it helps to regulate blood pressure. And when you eat these vegetables, many also provide a good source of dietary nitrates, which are then converted into nitric oxide, improving your blood flow to all over your body, including your brain, your heart, your kidneys, as well as your liver. And at the same time, their antioxidant compounds, they help to reduce LDL oxidation, a key step in atherosclerosis. And we need to do that on a daily basis, protect against heart disease and stroke. So these vegetables are our defense system, and they are deeply supportive of your brain health. But when you don't eat them, that can beget chronic inflammation and increased oxidative stress, which are major drivers of cognitive decline and dementia. And when you eat cruciferous vegetables, it can help reduce both. And sulforaphane literally crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's been shown in experimental studies to protect your neurons, enhance your mitochondrial function, especially in your brain cells, and reduce neuronal inflammation. Of course, it can't work alone. You're going to have to eat other vitamins like vitamin K, folate, magnesium, and well, you're in luck. They're also found in leafy greens. This makes leafy greens foundational foods for long-term cognitive resilience. Hormone balance is another topic often overlooked. Compounds like indole-3-carbinol and diindolylmethane found in cruciferous vegetables support healthy estrogen metabolism by promoting the breakdown of estrogen into less inflammatory forms. And this is relevant not just in breast and prostate health, but also for conditions linked to hormonal imbalance. Endometriosis, fibroids, and metabolic dysfunction can go together and can be no fun. Cruciferous vegetables also supports your immune system at a very fundamental level, literally by improving your gut barrier integrity. It can also enhance your glutathione production. And with both of these metrics, it decreases your inflammatory signaling, and it helps your immune system remain vigilant without becoming overactive. And this balance is critical for reducing infection risk, autoimmune activation, and chronic inflammatory diseases. And how you prepare your vegetables matters. Chopping or blending them before cooking them actually will allow the enzymes myrosinase to convert glucosinolates into sulforaphanes. But if you forget to do that, or you run out of time to do that, you can do a hack and give your food a little bit of mustard seed. I usually like to lightly steam my vegetables, which preserves some of the myrosinase activity. Also, just add some raw cruciferous vegetables when you eat the cooked cruciferous vegetables. Food number 7 are flax seeds. If you've ever had flax seeds, you know you can't chew it. You got to ground it. So ground flax seeds are actually one of the most powerful plant foods to help you with your blood pressure. They contain lignans and omega-3 fats that can reduce arterial stiffness and improve nitric oxide signaling. And just 1 tablespoon of flax seeds a day has been shown to lower systolic blood pressure significantly. And for your kidneys, that means less stiffness, it means less pressure, and less damage over time. So food number 8 are mushrooms. Mushrooms are naturally low in sodium, rich in potassium, and contains a special kind of dietary fiber called beta-glucans. Beta-glucans, they modulate immune activity. They also contain compounds that improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation. And more importantly, mushrooms make your food taste better and adds an umami flavor to help people reduce their reliance on salt without feeling deprived. And food number 9 is citrus fruits, especially lemons and oranges. And it just adds another layer of taste when you add some lemon juice or lime juice to food, doesn't it? So citrate from citrus, it can help to reduce your acid load, and some of that can protect your kidney stone formation. Vitamin C and flavonoids, they support your endothelial health, while potassium supports your blood pressure regulation. And when you eat whole fruits, like whole citrus, not just juices, you also get another nutrient called fiber that slows absorption and supports your gut-kidney axis signaling. And food number 10 is water-rich vegetables like cucumbers and zucchini and celery. These foods, they support your hydration, dilute your sodium concentration, provide you potassium in a low-calorie, low-acid form. So proper hydration, it reduces vasopressin levels, it lowers your blood pressure within your kidneys, and it protects your nephrons from chronic stress. But the key is to eat enough fresh fruits and vegetables, and you can actually measure if you're doing a good job. And that's basically get a urine dipstick. We're pretty cheap on Amazon. You dip your pH, and you know you're going in the right direction when your urinary pH becomes less acidic. And inside each kidney, you start with over 1 million nephrons. These tiny filtration units that regulate your fluid, your electrolytes, your acid-base balance, and blood pressure itself. So when you were born, you actually had the maximum amount of nephrons you will ever have in your entire life. And in fact, when you lose nephrons, they don't grow back. You slowly lose them over time. Every spike in pressure, every surge from sodium without potassium, every chronic state of inflammation, that just accelerates your nephron loss. And once a nephron is gone, it is gone forever. And the tragedy is that you can actually lose a massive percentage of your kidney function through losing your nephrons before you ever feel sick. And it's kind of like losing hair. You know, every day you lose some hair, and then one day you wake up with a bald patch. And then you wonder if you could have ever prevented it. And this is exactly why kidney health is not just about avoiding salt shakers or waiting for your creatinine to go up. It's about relaxing your blood vessels, having normal blood pressure, lowering your intracranial pressure, restoring mineral balance, feeding your gut microbiome, and reducing the metabolic burden placed on the kidneys every single day, especially after you eat. And food, specifically whole plant food, most of the time that does better than any medication could ever have because you don't get the side effects. Plus, we don't give you medications when you're healthy. And I'm sure many of you know to avoid sodium salt. But avoiding salt does not mean simply not adding salt to your meals. The majority of sodium intake actually comes not from your salt shaker, but from processed foods, especially ultra-processed foods. That includes many breads, sauces, soups, especially canned soups, crackers, sometimes even your milks, like your plant milks, your frozen meals, your restaurant foods, and even healthy packaged items like salted nuts. You don't have to always be eating potato chips to get a lot of salt. It's hidden in so many things. And the thing is, sodium without its natural counterbalances, like the potassium, magnesium, fiber matrix, and water, well, that just tightens your blood vessels, stiffens your arteries, and raises your glomerular pressure inside your kidneys. And you don't even know it. All this happens silently. But wait, you get a double whammy. There's another issue with certain salted foods that tax the kidneys' health. And those are picking salted acidic foods. Now, how do you make your blood acidic? That's really hard to do, but your body purposely have checks and balances to help you reduce that acid load. You know how that does it? Well, one big helper, actually two, are your kidneys. Hence, the more acidic foods you eat, the more stress you place on your kidneys to get rid of that acid load. And this stress becomes evident for people who have already lost a lot of their nephrons. So too many people just simply overeat acidic foods. Meals focused on amino acids or protein, right? You're always looking for protein. It's called an acid for a reason. And most people eat twice as much protein as they actually need. And if you're eating a low carb or high protein diet, you are unknowingly overloading your kidneys with sulfur-containing amino acids, acidifying your blood, which doesn't happen because your kidneys are working harder. You're increasing your renal workload, all while being deficient in potassium, magnesium, and fiber. They're all from plant foods. And if you're not eating whole plant foods, then you don't have this balance properly in your meals. Frankly, you don't usually wake up overnight with bad kidneys. It takes years and often decades of abusive foods to cause permanent loss of nephrons. So yeah, in the short term, studies in healthy people, it hasn't shown that their kidney function has dramatically changed on a high protein diet. But life is not a short-term strategy, folks. I believe it's a long-term game. So if you're worried about your kidneys, then you really need to check your blood pressure. And it's important to check it every day to make sure that your blood pressure is accurate and to check it multiple times a day. We shouldn't just trust one reading, but if you were only to do it once a day, then I would recommend that you do it at the beginning of the day to make sure when you wake up, you know what your blood pressure is, because most cardiac events happen in the wee early hours of the morning. And if your blood pressure is abnormal, make sure you see your own provider. All right. So when I put my blood pressure cuff in, I'm always matching the arrow or the little dot with my blood vessels around the center of my elbow or antecubital fossa. Okay. And then I'm going to rest it on my machine because it's about level to my heart. You want to uncross your legs, sit there for a few minutes if you're doing this at rest, and then you press the start button. All right. Okay, it's a little lower, 87 over 68 over 67. Now, this may seem low, but this is kind of my normal blood pressure, and I've been active and moving around all day. Don't eat a lot of salt. I feel fine. I may be a little bit dehydrated today because I haven't had access to water like I usually do, but my blood pressure usually runs a little low, so it's not abnormal for me to check a blood pressure that is under 90 or around 90. But if this is not your normal, then absolutely you need to go see your doctor, especially if you you are on any blood pressure medications, because if you're already low now, you may bottom out even more. So don't take your next dose until you talk to your doctor if you are concerned that your blood pressure is too low. And if you want to learn more about foods that can help you with that, watch the next video.